You know, the era of King Solomon is one of history's great black boxes. So today, we're diving headfirst into one of its biggest mysteries, the source of his almost unbelievable wealth. A fortune so huge, it's still inspiring treasure hunters to this day. To really get this mystery, you have to try and grasp the sheer scale of the wealth we're talking about. I mean, this wasn't just some rich king. This was a kingdom where the very idea of value was completely turned on its head. Now, that's not just some poetic line written centuries later. No, this is a direct description from some of the oldest texts we have, telling us that gold was so common, it was basically used like gravel. Just try to picture that for a second. Paving stones made of gold. And that, of course, leads to the absolute central question that has been bugging historians for literally centuries. If you have that much gold, it has to come from somewhere, right? So where? Okay, so here's our first big clue. Researchers combing through ancient texts found that Solomon wasn't digging up his own backyard for gold. The answer, the text hinted, was way more impressive. Turns out, Solomon didn't just rule the land, he commanded the seas. He built this incredibly powerful naval fleet, based not in the Mediterranean, but out of a port on the Red Sea. And just look at what those ships were bringing back. It wasn't only gold. They returned loaded with an incredible mix of treasures, industrial metals like copper, luxury goods like ivory and precious woods, and even exotic animals. This tells us he had a massive trade network with some incredibly wealthy and distant partner. For a minute there, it seems like we have an answer. The wealth came from trade. But, you know, that just opened up an even bigger mystery, one that has its own legendary name that echoes through history. So this is the crucial point. Knowing that the ships came back loaded with treasure is one thing, but knowing where they returned from, well, that's the key to this whole puzzle. And for the longest time, that's right where the trail went cold. The ancient texts did give us one thing, though. They gave us a name for this lost land of riches, Ophir. And with that one single word, the global treasure hunt for King Solomon's mines was officially on. Find Ophir, and you find the source of that legendary fortune. So once the name Ophir was out there, theories started popping up from literally every corner of the globe. The search for Solomon's wealth became a truly international investigation. The first theories cast a really wide net. Some people pointed to Sri Lanka because of some old linguistic clues. Others suggested southern India because, hey, the list of trade goods matched what that region produced perfectly. Even Zimbabwe was a top candidate, famous for its own ancient gold trade. But one by one, these theories just fell apart. They were all really intriguing ideas, but they all lacked one thing: hard scientific proof. After decades of searching all over the planet, the investigation took this wild turn. Researchers started looking closer to home, thinking, wait a minute, what if Ophir wasn't across the world? What if it was hidden in plain sight, right here in the Arabian Peninsula? Yemen was the obvious first choice. I mean, it had a rich history, that legendary link to the Queen of Sheba, and dozens of known gold sites. But there was a problem. Nobody could connect the mining activity there to the exact time of King Solomon. The timeline just didn't match up.
Then, another site in the peninsula popped up as an even stronger candidate, a place known as adh-Dhahab, which means cradle of gold, right in modern-day Saudi Arabia. And this place is one of the oldest and most important mines in the entire region.
And this is where it gets really exciting. They took ancient mining debris from the site and did radiocarbon dating on it. The results were stunning. The tests showed major activity dating all the way back to the 10th century BC, putting it squarely in King Solomon's reign. This was the first piece of hard scientific evidence linking a major mine to his time. But as awesome as the cradle of gold was, the biggest breakthrough in this entire search wouldn't be about gold at all. It would be about another, less glamorous but absolutely crucial metal, and it would cause a huge stir in the world of archaeology. The site that changed everything was here about en-Nahas, which translates to ruins of copper in modern-day Jordan. When archaeologists first started digging there, they had no idea they were about to completely rewrite the history books. And there it is again. Carbon dating confirmed that this massive copper mining operation was at its absolute peak, you guessed it, during the 10th century BC. Another direct, undeniable chronological hit linking a giant industrial site to the time of Solomon. So why was this discovery such a revolution?
Well, first, the scale of it. This wasn't some little local operation. This was an industrial production center. For years, a lot of historians believe that during this period, this region was just home to scattered, nomadic tribes. But the sheer size of this mine proved there was a powerful, organized, and wealthy state society there, exactly the kind of kingdom described in the ancient texts, one that needed tons of metal for huge projects like the Great Temple in Jerusalem.
With a discovery this big, you'd think the case would be closed. We found the mines! But, history is rarely that simple. The discovery of the copper mines solved one part of the puzzle, while leaving the biggest question tantalizingly unanswered. So here's where we stand today. Many experts now believe that en-Nahas is the long-lost source of King Solomon's incredible copper wealth. That part of the mystery, it seems to be solved. But the original legend, the source of all that gold that was as common as stone, the legendary land of Ophir, well, that remains one of history's greatest open cases. The discovery of these copper mines proves that real, tangible evidence from this mysterious era is still out there, buried under the sand. It really makes you wonder, if we could find the source of his copper after 3,000 years, what other legendary secrets are just waiting to be unearthed?